All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is December 16th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am Coach Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Let's take a look at some charts today. See how I made 5,500. Nice day. We had downtrend right here, 10-minute downtrend underneath VWAP right through here, and we traded this 10-minute downtrend. It got kind of twisty a few times. I mean, you can see it blipped under here to start to commence it, and then it ripped up over it. Then we had the bearish engulfing. Then we got back in it. If we didn't get triggered out. And then, of course, you had the downtrend and came back to VWAP again, and then went down, made a higher low, failed to make the higher high, and then pulled back to VWAP again, and then came back down here, and then we hit our target. Now, what was our target down here on the downside? My target was, well, see, I teach the traders in the room about peaks between two valleys, and valleys between two peaks. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to teach everybody out there in podcast land and digital land. Okay, so whenever you see a peak, all right, a large peak between two valleys or a valley between two large peaks, it will most often be a target. So we traded that 10-minute downtrend right into that target for a reversal right there. I told traders I'm buying calls. Actually, I said I'm buying something, but I didn't put the word calls in there. That's my fault. But anyways, price reverse right there. Now, you're probably looking at that and saying, well, gee, John, I don't see a peak in there between two valleys. So I'm just gonna spell it out for you, or actually I'm just gonna illustrate it, okay, with my, hopefully the drawing tools work, and they're not working. Okay, so just give me a second here. I will take care of that. I've got a fix for that. Okay, so take care of that. Let's try this. Try it one more time. Oh, they're working. Okay, so here we come down here. Say, here's the valley, and then it goes up into this peak right there. Okay. See how it comes from that high down to that low, and then it doesn't get any lower, okay, until after this peak right there. Then comes the second peak, okay, which originates from up here, the top of that red candle, and I'm going to try not to obstruct it down to, see that low? See those two tails down there? Down to that low. And that makes another valley. So you've got one valley here, another valley here, and there is, in fact, a very thin peak, but it is still a peak between the two valleys. And that was our target for the downside today, right here. And it was, it actually was 675.55, and they spiked it, all right, and then they gave us that bullish engulfing candle right off of there. So it was really nice. It was nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, when you nail the reversal like that, okay, it's just a beautiful thing. All right, just a beautiful thing. Okay, so you can see here it is. They spike it, and then here's, okay, so here's the big red candle. Here's the red candle there, and you can see the green candle ignites off of it. Got a harsh pullback, make a higher low, and then we start to rise up. And then, like the diagram that I illustrated yesterday, okay, which was, I don't know if I can pull that out, but I'm going to show you what I teach traders here. So I go to the 5-minute, all right, and I said to the traders, I said, from yesterday's diagram, I said, see, this is where the easy money is made. Okay, so I was pointing this out to them, that this is the easy money right there. And we had a little bullish divergence because you can see price right here made a lower high, but the PPO made a higher high. So you knew that the next pullback, they were going to have to at least make an attempt. It's not guaranteed that they make a higher high, but they're making an attempt to make a higher high. So you can see, and of course, they nailed it like they do most oftentimes. Okay, you can see the high, they made a higher low. And you know what happens when you make the higher low is the bulls get inspired to make the higher high. And it's the same thing on the reverse side. When you get the lower high, the bears get inspired to make the lower low. See, like here, failure to make a higher high right here. So what happens? The bears get inspired to make, see that low? To make a lower low, all right? So the same thing with the bulls, okay, on the 5-minute chart here. Okay, you got a higher low, and guess what? Yes, the bulls, okay, in addition to the divergence, all right, the bulls were inspired to make that higher high. So there it goes, and it rips right up there. And I said to traders, you know, this is where we make a lot. Oh, this is where we make the easy profits. Okay, it's where we make the easy profits are right there. Watching that PPO. See these bars keep closing higher, higher, higher. Then it got a little twisty right after I made the announcement. And then, of course, then it took off again. And it was nice. So that was pretty. That was beautiful. Got a little 10-minute uptrend. Okay, so you can see here's our 10-minute trend commencing. Not over VWAP yet. Now we get up over VWAP. A little shaky here, but then it continues on. So nice little 10-minute uptrend. So beautiful 10-minute downtrend. Not quite as clean as I like it. Too many pullbacks to VWAP, but if you stayed with it on the 15, okay, if you were on the 15, you could stay with it and ride it all the way down to the target, okay? And then on the 10-minute, you know, you've got the reversal right here because that would be our target where price typically reversed and went all the way back to VWAP in a rush, came back down, made a higher low, and then it had that 10-minute uptrend. So you can see beautiful thing right there today, okay? Just trading it down, trading it up. I mean, making money down, making money up, all right? So that was really incredibly easy day today. Hope traders made some money. If you didn't, get with me. Again, I do free coaching, okay? I know I say 15-minute coaching, but, you know, all my coaching sessions last much longer than 15 minutes. I'm committed to making everybody here winners, okay? Because day trading is hard. So I'm going to stay with you as long as it takes, okay? And you can take as many, I'm going to call them 15-minute. You can take as many 15-minute that happen to run over 15 minutes, okay? 15-minute coaching sessions as you need, okay? The biggest thing is stop losing money. Okay, if you're losing money, stop immediately, trade paper until you get some coaching and we figure out what went wrong. Okay, because that's the biggest thing. A lot of times it's no rules, no discipline. You don't put the work in or something like that. Okay, but it's all very easy. It's all very easy to fix because I have such a simplified, dynamic pattern that I trade almost all the time. And it is the 10-minute downtrend and the 10-minute uptrend right there. Sometimes it's under VWAP, sometimes it's over VWAP. But I have a very simple way of, you know, pulling profits from the market. Now, I don't go chase, you know, all 8,000 securities in the market, okay? I only trade a couple indexes and maybe a couple of securities, okay? SPY, QQQ, maybe some Intel, you know, little Tesla here and there, but all in all, I stick to what I know. I stick with one or two products. I know how they typically move, and I know when something's up, and I trade this I trade it daily. There's no getting around it. I've always got some sort of a position in it. So beautiful 10-minute uptrend, 10-minute downtrend. It was a beautiful day. It really was. Okay, coming right down to the target. Again, it was, I'm going to right there, the valley, okay, you can't see it, I mean the peak, okay, between the two valleys. It's hard to see the valleys, but it's there. So this is like a W, okay, so that's where the two V's meet in the middle, okay, right there, okay, right there. That's going to be a target most of the time. Same thing with, a valley between two peaks. Like, take a look. Here's a peak. There's a peak, and there's a valley between two peaks. And you'll see that price will come back. When we get underneath it, we'll come back to that valley right there. Or this valley right here, okay? Where you got a peak here and a peak there. That will be a target when we're underneath it, is that number right there. They will rally to get that number, and then they will reverse on that number most often, okay? But that was our trade today. 10-minute downtrend, 10-minute uptrend, right into the close. Okay, so there's 10-minute chart. So let's drill down and look at this. I'm going to call it a 10-minute uptrend into the close, okay? So for tomorrow, I'm going to look for continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. Okay, so I'm going to look for green candles. Okay, I don't want any spinning tops. All right, I don't want any candles. See that one right there? It's got more wick than body and tail combined. That would be a spinning top. That would have more wick than body and tail. That's not my candle. That's not my candle. Little dojis, okay? Okay, that's kind of a doji, kind of a spinning top, but I wouldn't take that, okay? Because this candle means bears had more control. This candle means the spinning top means bulls and bears agreed on price. Same with this doji, bulls and bears agree on price. See, I don't want agreement on price, okay? Because I'm gonna probably incur a theta decay right out of the gate. As soon as I take possession of that contract, theta decay is going to start working against me. So I want something that's going to work immediately, okay? And in order to get it to work immediately, I'm going to need like a nice candle. Like that one's a nice candle. That one's a nice candle. Of course, the red one's not a nice candle because why? Because if I'm going to buy calls, it's going to be working against me. Okay, I want something that's working with me. Okay, I want to buy in with the institutions. Okay, and they may not show up tomorrow. Who knows? You know, they may have selling on the brain. I don't know. All right, but I got a 10-minute uptrend. I'm going to look for continuation. It may happen. It may not happen. We'll see what happens. Okay, but I'm going to look for that to happen, and I'm looking for a particular candle. I'll probably be picking off the lows of a few candles until we break the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. After that point, I will definitely be looking for puts if we happen to break the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. But as long as price holds in there, all right, I will try to trade this 10-minute uptrend for a continuation pattern tomorrow morning. All right, so that's the plan. All right, so you kind of already got a glimpse of what I'm thinking about and what I'm looking for to happen tomorrow. All right, you already know what my instructions are. Preferably, I like a nice 10-minute uptrend that just continues up over VWAP. We'll see what happens. Okay, tomorrow's a new day. Different things could happen. The market could look different. All right, here's a 2-hour chart. We are still in a 2-hour downtrend. You can see the candlesticks are underneath the 3 EMA. You can barely see it. I'm going to crank this up so you can see it. Oh, crank it up. Okay, there's that. And let's make it a little thicker. Okay, so now you see the yellow line. Okay, so you see how the candlesticks are underneath the yellow line now. It's visible. And the white and the yellow line is underneath the white line. Now you can barely see the white line, okay? But anyways, that white line right there, okay, you can see it if I'm tracing it out right now. So that's the 8 EMA. This is the 3 EMA. The faster moving average is underneath the slower moving average, okay? So we have a downtrend, and you can see daylight between the 3 and the 8. So we got a 2-hour downtrend, okay, right now that we're currently dealing with. Okay, 2-hour downtrend. Like to see that. Like to see the bulls close that off. Okay, pinch that off, start an uptrend. All right, but it is what it is. We got a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close, and we got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Like I said, on that 10-minute uptrend, we may not have a continuation to that 10-minute uptrend tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm hoping to find it, but with this 2-hour downtrend, they may squash my little 10-minute uptrend. So we'll see what happens. Okay, on the daily chart, all right, I'm going to back the 3 off just a little bit. Actually, I'll just leave it on there. Okay, so you can see the 3 is now underneath. See the white line? It's under the white line. So we got a bearish cross. This is today's candle, this doji looking apparatus candle right here. Okay, see? Long wick, long tail, squat little body in the middle. Okay, that's kind of bulls and bears agree on price. That's what that candle says. Okay, right there. Hopefully that's not the case. All right. I hope the bulls are upset that the bears pushed it this low and they want to push it back up. That's what I hope. We'll see. But anyways, lower high, lower low. We closed under, see the bearish cross. So now this is a bearish trap because the 3 is under the 8, under a bearish trap or a bearish cross, however you want to look at it. Okay, and underneath the 17, see the green dots? Well, on this candle, they closed red because price closed underneath the dot. That's the 17 EMA. So closed underneath the 17 EMA right there. So we haven't made a lower low. So if we go to the quad lines here, and I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of the way so you can see clearly. Otherwise, you won't be able to see clearly. So I'm going to move this away. Okay, so now you can see the candle. Okay, now I'm going to zoom way out because I'm on the daily chart. Okay, you can see the candle up there still. Move this out of the way. Okay, so there's our candle right there. There's the April low. Okay, April low. Candle's way up there. So we're at the top. This is the quad lines. That's quadrant 1. This quadrant 2. This quadrant 3. That's quadrant 4. So we're at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. Okay, and we haven't made a lower low, so we're still in an uptrend. So we're bullish and in an uptrend. But for the last 3 days, we have not been moving up. Okay, it's a little disturbing, right? Okay, maybe after hitting this peak between the two valleys, we can start moving up. Okay, we got a little start with that 10-minute uptrend today. We'll see, and that's why I'm looking for the continuation tomorrow. We'll see what happens. So we're still bullish, still in an uptrend there on the daily chart. Okay, on the weekly chart, you can see, all right, we're still top of quadrant 4, still bullish and still in an uptrend. Okay, on the weekly chart. Okay, I'm going to spread these out so you can see clearer. Okay, this is this week's candle right here. See it? April low, top of quadrant 4. We haven't damaged anything yet. We haven't made a lower low. So weekly, bullish, still in an uptrend. Monthly chart. Okay, same gig. All right. Again, we move these over. Okay, you can see this is our candle right here. Okay, so it's up at the top of quadrant 4. That makes it better. Okay, it's up at the top of quadrant 4. We haven't made any lower lows. This would be the lows to beat down there. Okay, so still bullish, still in an uptrend on the monthly chart. Okay, so that's SPY. Let's go take a look at QQQ. Okay, we'll start off with QQQ. We'll start off like we always do on the 10-minute chart. Okay, see the air between, or the daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA. Okay, it's a 10-minute uptrend. It's getting pinched off into the close. Still an uptrend right there. On the 2-hour chart, okay, you can see you got air or daylight between the 3 and the 8. The 3 is under the 8, so bearish 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. I do like the looks of that tail, that tail, that tail, and that tail. Okay, I like all that tails. That kind of shows me like bulls are operating here, but supposedly they were operating here too, but not as many. I got more tails here than I do there, so hopefully we get a reversal. We'll see what happens. QQQ, 2-hour downtrend. Okay, if you look closely, you can see the white 8 EMA and the yellow 3 EMA underneath it. So it's still a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. Take a look at the daily chart. Okay, we got a green candle, got a lower high, got a lower low. We closed under a bearish trap because the 3 is under the 8. We closed under, see this pink line or purple line right there? That's the all-time high anchored VWAP, closed under that. Okay, we haven't made a lower low yet. We'd have to take out this low in order to make a lower low. So we're still in an uptrend. All of this is quadrant 4 between the 2 green lines. Now I'm going to back way out so you can see the April low down here. And up here you're in the middle of quadrant 4 and you're in an uptrend, okay, because you haven't made a lower low yet. Still in an uptrend, all right? But problem is you're not moving up, okay? You're moving in the wrong direction. So it's a pullback in the uptrend right now, okay? Hopefully things will get squared away and then we can start moving forward again. We'll see what happens, okay? So there's QQQ, all right? Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, here's FNGU. Price action here for the daily candle is a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap, okay? Closing under. Okay, you see all of this consolidation? Well, this is the major support to that consolidation. So we closed under major support. That's not good. That's not good at all, okay? And you can see there's a low, and we made a lower low. So we're in a downtrend. So now we're in a downtrend, and we're under major support. And you can see the pink line up here. That's the like all-time high anchored VWAP right there. That's the all-time high. So we put a VWAP right on there, and we're underneath that as well. So you can see we're bearish. All right. Now, if we back out of the quad lines, we're definitely not in the upper third, and we're showing a bearish head and shoulders program. Okay. Not what I wanted to see. Okay. But anyways, here's our April low. There's our all-time high. Okay. And you're showing the head and shoulders. This would be the head. That would be your right shoulder. This would be your left shoulder. Okay. That would be the major support. Okay, and you're getting kind of like an H pattern rollover here. All right, so we're not in the upper third, so that makes us neutral. All right, and in a downtrend. Okay, now, but we need FNGU in order to make new all-time highs. I don't think we can do it without them. Okay, it will be a struggle without the FNGU. All right, I've seen it done before, but it takes a long, long time to happen. But FNGU has 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and the SPY. And you usually can't make new all-time highs without some support from all of the heavyweights. Because when they move as a pack, they drag those two indexes right along with them. So there's FNGU. Okay, so we need their help. And this one is stinking up the joint because it's not moving up. All right, it's gotten below major support for the second time. Now the bulls rescued it here. Will the bulls show up? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. We'll see this week. That's for sure. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow, you can see 3 days ago made a new all-time high. Today's candle, lower high, lower low. We closed under a bullish trap. You can see the bottom of that red candle underneath the trap. Okay, so under a bullish trap, but over, see the green dots, over the 17 EMA. All right, and over the prior, this is the all-time high. This is a prior all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, still at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, they haven't broken anything. Here's your April low. top of quadrant 4. That's still bullish, still in an uptrend. Okay, right there on Diamond Dow. They haven't broken anything. Everything's still working for them. IWM. IWM got a lower high, got a lower low, closing underneath. You can see the cross here, the 3. The yellow line crossing the 8, so closing underneath a bearish cross. Closing over the 17, over the prior, that's the all-time high, the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. See this pink line right here? That used to be the all-time high till they went and did this, okay, and made new all-time highs 3 days ago, just like Diamond Dow. Okay, so they're in the middle of quadrant 4. They haven't broken anything, so they're still in an uptrend. Okay, you can see here's our April low. There's our all-time high, and they're in the middle of quadrant 4. That makes them bullish, all right, and in an uptrend still. Okay, so let's go take a look at silver and gold. Here's silver. Remember silver 3 days ago made a new all-time high. Here's silver's candle. Lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap. Look at the daylight in there. That's beautiful. Okay, over the bullish trap, over, see the green dots, over the 17 EMA. Top of quadrant 4. Okay, that's still bullish and in an uptrend. Look at it hold those highs up there. That takes strength to do that. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at GLD. Okay, GLD having trouble making new all-time highs, but they had their fair share of new highs all through here. Just going to say that. Today's candle looks like, I'm going to have to pull up the letters here. So the high is 398.71. The high is 398.71. Equal high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap. Okay, the 3 on top of the 8. See the daylight. Okay, it's a bullish trap. Over the 17, that's the green dots. Okay, this is the all-time high, anchored VWAP, this pink line. Okay, we're over that. That's bullish. We're at the top of quadrant 4, and look at us hold the higher ground. Look how we moved up and held the higher ground, create a little launch pad, and then we launched up higher. Okay, so top of quadrant 4. Okay, here's our place of origin down here. Okay, this is quadrant 1. Okay, from 2022. Okay, so all the way up here in 2025. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so we did silver and gold. Take a look at UNG. All right, UNG got a candle today. Look at UNG just falling apart. I mean, I had such hope for them. Lower high, lower low. This is the all-time low right here. This red candle right here, that is the all-time low. Look how close we are to the all-time low. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap. Look at all the daylight in there. Underneath the falling 17, see the red dots falling. Underneath the 2025 high anchored VWAP. This has not been the year for energy. Well, at least not for nat gas and petroleum. Okay, not been their year, that's for sure. They've been struggling to make highs and break downtrends. Okay, so you can see right here, they finally broke out of the bearish quadrant for a day. It lasted a day, and then that was it. That's bearish at the bottom of quadrant 4, all right? And there's a low. They made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend and bearish again, and I'm going to say the all-time low is in jeopardy of being beat again, okay? So we'll see what happens. There's UNG, downtrend, okay, and bearish. Let's take a look and see how they go up and they give it up. Okay, not a good look. When you get up there, you can hold the higher ground. That's a much better look. So you go up, give it up. Okay, let's take a look at USO. All right, here's USO. Where's the quad lines? All right, let's put the quad lines in there. All right, so here's USO. Here's today's candle. lower high, lower low. Obviously, it's below a bearish trap. You can see all the daylight between the 3 and the 8. Underneath, look at the 17, falling 17. Okay, underneath, see this pink line? That is the post-COVID high for the oil fund. All right, so you go back to 2022. There's the high. Okay, and we're underneath the high. Look at all the times. 3 days, give it up. 1 day, give it up. 1 day, give it up. Poke it, give it up. Not even, I can't even reach it now, okay? And they give it up, okay? So they are in the lower third, so they're bearish. And obviously there's a low, there's a lower low in a downtrend. That's USO. T2101. All right, so we moved down today and participation decreased a little bit. I'm all in favor of that. So market breadth, aka participation. Okay, you know price moved down today and participation in breadth dropped as well. I'm in favor of that. Okay, I don't want to see it increase when the market's dropping. Okay, because I'm a bull. I'm in favor of seeing participation increase when the market gets bullish. Okay, so that's what I want to see. All right, not when it gets bearish. So this is good that participation in breadth. All right, where I'm just going to say they dipped when the market dipped, so I'm fine with that. That's T2101. T2122. Well, we spent the whole day, all right, in the seller's chop zone. Kind of wanted to be back up here in the buy zone. Don't get what, okay. Didn't get what I asked for from Santa, all right. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's coming, okay. I do sense a possible reversal starting to commence. We'll see. T2122, 15-minute chart, spending the day in the seller's chop zone. All right, let's go take a look at T2123. Okay, holding on to that bull flag. Okay, that's like planking for 4 days straight. Okay, that is a show of strength. Whenever you move up and hold the higher ground, we're over the 200 SMA, so that's bullish. Okay, we're up by the midpoint from the all-time high, so that makes us kind of neutral right there, neutral, but acting very bullish and in an uptrend right there. Okay, still holding those highs. Love it. Okay, that's T2123, 15-minute chart. Here's a 3-bar chart. There's a high. Oh no, we made a higher high. That makes us in an uptrend. Okay, we're over the 200 SMA. That's where I want to be because I'm a bull. Okay, we're in the middle of quadrant 4. All right, that's bullish up there. Here's our April low. There's our all-time high. We're up over this. See this little head and shoulders neckline? Okay, so we're up on top of the support. We're on top of a flat 200 SMA. We're in the middle of quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. And the 3-bar chart is now in an uptrend ever since they made the higher high here. So bullish and in an uptrend on the 3-bar chart for T2123. Now comes a stinker. All right, FNGU 15-minute chart. Okay. Bear flag, not liking that. Okay, I want to see the bulls come in and rescue price. It's not happening. All right. The only thing that may have happened, oh, look at this high right here over the 17. They left off the end of the day with an uptrend. Why? Because they got a high, they made a higher high. So there's a little silver lining in the clouds right there. Uptrend right there into the close on the 15-minute. Okay, but all in all, we're still, see the green line, we're still underneath major support. We're still underneath, see the pink line. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, still underneath that, still underneath, see the red line? That's a 200 SMA. We're underneath that, and we're underneath the major support. Okay, so again, we're not in the upper thirds, so that puts us, well, you know, that puts us in neutral territory, and we're in a downtrend because we're Well, we on the daily chart, we're in a downtrend. On the 15-minute chart, we managed to, at the very end of the day, ink out a higher high. So on the 15-minute chart, we're in an uptrend, okay? That's the only silver lining. And we're up over VWAP. So there's two silver linings right there, okay, over VWAP. All right, but all in all, not my favorite place to be. This is puts us in jeopardy of falling apart. Don't like that. Did I leave a runner on the 4th? No. Me? On the 4th, he scored. Oh, Tex. Okay. All right, so that's it for me, traders, okay? You already got my game plan tomorrow, okay? 10-minute uptrend, I'm looking for a continuation. All right? That's what I'm looking for. Okay? So I'll see everybody tomorrow. Hope you made money. It was a real easy day today. A lot of shaking around with the price action. I got to admit that. A lot of bouncing back to VWAP and such. I mean, we pulled back to VWAP. Here's a 3-minute chart. So here's the first pullback. There's the second. There's the third, the fourth, the fifth. And then this was the 6th right there. 6 times we dipped and pulled back. And then we finally made it up over it. All right, see everybody tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. All right, 8 o'clock. Let's do it again. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful evening. Still hanging in there. Yep. Bullish uptrend. Still got the daily uptrend. Got a higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over the 17 and the rising 17. Still hanging in there. MSOS. Looking fantastic. Love that it cleared all of those wicks. Love that. All of that. Okay. Those should provide support now. If they happen to roll back, they should provide support. Hopefully. Doesn't mean that they will. It's no guarantee, but they should provide support now that we're up over it. Pull back, find support, and then J-hook back up to the upside. MSOS. What was the other one? CGC. Yeah, CGC. Struggling to get over all these wicks, okay? It's just struggling. Got an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, but closed over a bullish trap over the 17. Still looking good. Okay, still looking good closing up here. All right, so hopefully tomorrow get another little blast off. Or if they can just hold the higher ground, right, Robert? If they can just hold the higher ground, all right, that would be nice. Just show me, you're willing to hold the higher ground. You don't have to go back to 150 again. Just hang out up there, right? All right, see everybody tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Everybody have a beautiful evening. Thank you.